Welcome to Red Square, comrades. So this is the Kremlin behind me, and there's the square itself. So we won't be able to get a good shot of the whole thing today because they're setting up for a military tattoo, which should be there for a while. But let's have a look around anyway. So, behind me is St. Basil's Cathedral, the famous cathedral, built in the time of Ivan the Great, or rather Ivan the Terrible, depending on how you feel about him. And it was built to commemorate the conquest of the towns of Kazan and Astrakhan. Kazan is just a couple hundred miles east of the river Volga, and Astrakhan is down in the Caucasus, or towards that direction. So my understanding is that there have been churches here for quite a long time, for several centuries before this was built. So this was built in the 1550s and then finished in 1561. And supposedly the very distinctive architecture, there's nothing like it in Russia. Well, I suppose you see the onion domes everywhere, but it's supposed to look like a bonfire. So it was taken over by the Soviets in 1928 and then turned into a museum in 1929. And since then it's become a museum and property of the government of the Russian Federation. And a little bit about the Kremlin. So the Kremlin has been home to the Russian government since at least the time of Mikhail Romanov, the first of the actual Tsars. And it's been home to them relatively on and off. They've kind of leapfrogged from St. Petersburg to here, blah, blah, blah. So it was occupied by Napoleon in 1812, obviously. The Polish occupied it quite briefly for about 2 years in the 1600s during the time of troubles, which was when Mikhail Romanov came about and took over. So Stalin had his personal rooms here and his offices. Lenin only had his offices, as I understand. And many of the cadres and top Soviet figures lived in the Kremlin. But we already knew that already. Like, if you can't see it beyond this wall, but there are a great many cathedrals in there, and there's a big yellow building with offices and rooms and stuff where Stalin and all the rest used to live. So that there is the mausoleum. That's a better shot. So if you see the old footage of the newsreels and stuff, that's where Stalin and all the rest used to stand while the Red Army marched through here with its missiles and all the rest. So Lenin's still in there. He's been in there since 1928, I think. And yeah, he's still there, but unfortunately we can't go in today. I don't think it's open, and plus we've got all this in the way. So yeah, that's where they used to stand all the time. You see it all in the news footage. So yeah, the Lenin Mausoleum. Look closely. I was talking about the necropolis earlier. Between those two trees are those two little black squares. Those are the plaques to all the people that are buried there. So yeah, like I said, people like Stalin, who used to be in the mausoleum, and Gagarin, and I'd have to look into some more, but some pretty famous figures in Russian history right there along this necropolis. So yeah, now let's go over to the Square of the Revolution and have a look at Zhukov, see what he's up to. Just a bit of an explanation as to why I'm not gushing as much now as I was when I was in Pariser Platz in Berlin. It's because I've been here for about a week already. So this isn't the very first time I've seen Red Square. I mean, I was pretty blown away when I did first see it. You should have seen me when I saw the Lubyanka. I was like, on the Pariser Platz, I was going, oh my god, it's the actual Lubyanka, KGB, all the rest. But yeah, so this isn't the raw, uncut response to arriving in Moscow. But it's pretty close to. So, but let's keep on looking. So here we have the monument to Marshal Zhukov, or as my friend Lera told me, they call him in Russian Marshal Pobyedy, which is the Marshal of Victory. So he's called the hero of the Battle of Moscow. He turned back the Germans on December 7th, 1941. During, I think it was Operation Typhoon, whatever it was. But yeah, he stopped them in October of that year. He only had something like 15 divisions to fight against almost 3 million Germans, and it was only through discovering that the Japanese weren't going to attack the Soviet Union that they were able to bring those forces to bear here and then turn the tide of the battle. Although it's a bit up to debate as to whether or not taking Moscow would really have changed anything, but that's a different video. So here we have the memorial to the Great Patriotic War, or as they say in Russian, Velikaya Отечественная война, which Great Patriotic War, or the Great Fatherland War, if you want to get specific. But most people just call it the Great Patriotic War. And yeah, so they've always got these two guys here, and then another one behind that tree, making sure people don't jump over the bollard. And yeah, it's actually quite moving. 25 million people died in the on the Eastern Front, and this is a really nice way to memorialize them. It's not ostentatious, it's not bombastic, it's quiet, it's timeless. It's really, really good, and in quite a powerful place. We're in the shadow of the Kremlin. Decisions that have affected millions have been made here. Lives lost, crimes committed. But here's a monument to, I hope, the better angels of our nature. So we have memorials to some of the bigger cities. Leningrad, Kiev, Minsk, Stalingrad. And then if we continue on, Sevastopol, Odessa, Kerch, Novorossiysk, Brestskaya Krenost, Tula, Murmansk, Smolensk, Karoda, Vainskoy Slavy. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah. It's nice. It's a very nice memorial. It's good. But yeah, here we go. Memorial to some of the bigger cities. Just a tiny little, well, not tiny. It's quite grand. Obviously, we're in the shadow of the Kremlin. Just a little way of paying respects to the millions upon millions who died to save the world from the greatest evil of the 20th century. I know I keep banging on about it, but yeah, they need to be remembered. Большое спасибо. I hope you guys appreciate this. I just dropped my phone. The screen's fine, but the back's all cracked. But it doesn't seem to have done anything. Oh well. So, now I want to show you the State Duma, so the Russian Parliament, and then I might come back here and explore the park, because it looks quite nice. Didn't get to have a look at it the other day. But let's go to the Duma and have a look at that. Then I might get some lunch. And then I want to show you the Russian White House and tell you a story not many people in the West would know, from the magical year of 1993. Very exciting. Let's head over to the Duma. I think hanging around on the Square of the Revolution has kind of brought back those sorts of, oh my god, I'm finally here type feelings. I always find when I hang around war memorials for too long, I do get that sort of sense of history, and I just did that with the Great Patriotic War Memorial just back there. It's really amazing to finally be here. Like with Berlin, I've read about this place since I was a child, and now I'm here. So, I'm chuffed. And before I forget, I will show you the Moscow Metro. It is fabulous, darling, fabulous. Very, very beautiful, runs like clockwork every 2 minutes. Really, really good, but we'll have a look at that later. So here we are at the State Duma. So I don't think you can see it, but I'll get a better shot and I'll translate it for you, or actually try and practice some Russian. So this is where the parliament meets. So United Russia, the communists, and all the rest. They meet here every day. They didn't meet here in Soviet times. They met at a different place, the one I want to show you and tell you the story about 1993. They met there, or in somewhere in the Kremlin, I think. But yeah, so this is where they meet now, in the State Duma. So there you go. Государственная Дума, which translates as State Duma. Государственная Дума. And if we look closely, still got the hammer and sickle. Very cool. Yeah, we got the eagle, the Tsarist eagle, and the hammer and sickle, which is not an uncommon sight throughout Moscow. Yeah, it's just, so yeah, there you go, the Duma. Don't know when it was built. Obviously there was a Duma under the last couple of years of the Tsar, Tsar Nicholas II, but I don't know where they met, but it definitely wasn't here, I don't think. But yeah, let's go get a little bit to eat, and then we'll go to the other meeting place I wanted to show you. Just in this place here is a restaurant that my friend Lera recommended to me, called literally Dr. Zhivago, like the novel. So it's supposed to be quite good, and a lot of Russian food there. So let's go have a look. So, cool little bit of trivia. So I'm outside, I don't know what a hotel this is, but it says, this little plaque says, Zdezd Vladimir Ilyich Lenin жил в марте 1918 года. После переезда советского правительства из Петрограда в Москву, which translates as Vladimir Lenin lived here in March of 1918 after moving the Soviet capital from St. Petersburg, or Petrograd as it was known then, to Moscow. So this is really cool. I'm going to be having lunch in a hotel where Lenin once lived. Amazing. I love this country. So I went in and I needed a reservation. I didn't know. So I've got an hour to kill and then I can go have lunch. So, that being the case, I might show you the Biblioteka имени Lenina. So that's the library named for Lenin. So we go have a look at that. Have a look around a bit more. I could show you the church of the Saviour on Spilled Blood. So yeah, let's go have a look. So, behind me we've got the library named for Lenin. Now you can't quite see it, but up there it still says the State Library of the Soviet Union, named for Lenin. But now it's just the State Library of the Russian Federation, named for Lenin. So if you were here, if you look a bit closely, you can see, you know, there's images of workers and stuff all along the top with like great big bales of wheat and all the rest. Very, very Soviet, very, very cool. And we've got Dostoevsky just having a little sit down in front of the library. So yeah, that's the library. So, this big lad here is Vladimir, and Vladimir is seen by many to be sort of the father of Russia. He was one of the kings of the Kievan Rus, which was the first sort of settlement from which Russia eventually grew to what it is now. And as the name would suggest, it was based near Kiev. And yeah, he's credited with sort of beginning the process of creating Russia, and also for bringing Christianity to Russia. So actually we'll go over and have a look at the memorial later, and it says that on the bottom that, you know, he's the emperor that brought Christianity to Russia. Pretty cool monument. We'll go have a closer look in a minute. And then the Kremlin again, big yellow building, would have been where Stalin lived, and all the rest of them. Pretty sweet. So here we've got a mural to the Great Patriotic War. Sort of spread it all over, but particularly around here, I think it's advertisements for a museum of Russian military history. And of course, the Great Patriotic War is the granddaddy of them all. It's interesting. My friend Lera was saying to me that in Russia, the Second World War, here he is again, is sacred almost. So you can know next to nothing about history, but you will know about the Great Patriotic War. It's I don't know how else to describe it. I suppose it could be almost like the Americans in the Revolutionary War, but this feels much more real and much more immediate, because it was for at least some people, within living memory. So yeah, just a little example of how all-pervasive the memory of that war is in this town, and I would assume throughout this whole country. Here he is, the big boy, the man himself, Vladimir, bringer of God to the Slavs. There's a little memorial behind him depicting some scenes from when he did that. And yeah, it's just a big old statue it wasn't a Tsar, because they didn't have the title of Tsars then, but yeah, there he is, Vladimir. Now I think we can go back into the gardens near the War Memorial, have a look around a bit, and then hopefully my table will be ready at Dr. Zhivago. So, see you in a bit. Very happy, lads, wearing my Politburo coat, as I like to call it, and just strolling and thinking about the important affairs of state. in the shadow of the motherfucking Kremlin. This is amazing. No, this is really good. I love it. So, excuse me for a minute while I just enjoy my time here. Okay, I'm not sure I'm allowed to be here, but I'm going to try and touch the wall of the Kremlin. Holy shit. It's fucking real. The Kremlin! Oh, fuck. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. It's real. It's here. It's there. Oh, shit. Okay, better go back to the path. Might get in trouble. I've just noticed up there they still have the star and hammer and sickle. Oh, shit, it's becoming real, guys. This is amazing. Shit. It's the Kremlin. It's the actual Kremlin. This is amazing. God, and to think I wasn't excited this morning. Okay, now I have to touch the soil because I'm that weird. This is the soil of the Kremlin. Holy shit. Yes, I know I'm a nutter, but who cares? That's authentic Russian soil. Soviet soil. Stalinist soil. Fuck, guys. This is amazing. Anyway, I think I better get back to the restaurant. Just walking in the shadow of the Kremlin. So behind me I've got GUM, the famous department store, which, if you live in the West during the Cold War, was synonymous with, you know, grey, shortages and all the rest, but now is like every other shopping store, every other department store throughout the world. So I'm not going to show you it, because it looks exactly the same. But yeah, there you go. GUM. So, that's the Lubyanka, fellas. You should have seen me on my first day. It was like I was on the Parisaplatz again. I was going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That is the actual headquarters of the KGB and now the FSB. Like, holy shit, guys. Like, it's right there. You know, the center of world espionage for almost 50 years. 70 if you want to include right from the beginning. But yeah, it's right there. I'm going to try and find a way to get closer to it. Maybe that side of the street. I don't know if I can. But I'm gonna give it a try. But, oh fuck, it's the Lubyanka! You know, the one of popular infamy and, you know, people that never want to end up in the jail there, all that kind of shit. It's the Lubyanka, guys, it's amazing. Oh, and another thing, they still got the hammer and sickle all over it. Like, you can't see it from this distance, but they're definitely there. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, it's the Lubyanka. Holy shit. Oh my god, it's the Lubyanka! So I didn't want to hang around the Lubyanka too long because I think I got one of the policemen there on edge. But holy shit, it's right fucking there. Just a moment ago I saw that they had a memorial on one of the walls to Andropov. He was the head of the KGB and he eventually became General Secretary for about 2 years. But he died quite suddenly. Well, he was quite old. But yeah, they had a little memorial to him saying, you know, from 1967 until 1982 he worked here as the head of the KGB. So that was cool. But yeah, holy shit, it's the Lubyanka and I've touched the walls of it. And I've lived to tell the tale. The dandies living on the edge. Welcome, tovarshi, to Park Gorkova. Gorky Park. Unfortunately, it's closed today, so I can only show you the entrance, but the entrance is pretty cool. And I'll show you the rest of the park tomorrow. I've got very little battery left, so I can't show you that other place I wanted to show you as well, but we'll just have a look at the entrance first. So what we've got up there is Artyena Lenina, Centralny Park Kultury и Отдыха имени Горького, which means by the order of Lenin, a central park for culture and relaxation, named for Gorky. So Gorky was an author in the Soviet period, and I think initially he was a bit of a dissident, but then under Stalin in the 30s he was sort of rehabilitated and he became quite a big figure in the literary world of the Soviet Union for quite a long time. And this park was built in, I think, either the 30s or the mid-50s. I would assume the 50s, because we've got 55 on the sides, for the workers to relax in and take in a bit of culture. So if you go inside, unfortunately we can't today, it's closed for some reason. I've been once or twice already. They pump in music, they have concerts and things, like the last couple of times I went in. You can get some beer, you can get ice cream, you can buy corn, which is a thing here, that you can buy corn from just like carts. But yeah, it's really, really cool. I'll show you what the interior when it's open again, and when I've got more battery. But yeah, here we go. And we've obviously got the ubiquitous Lenin up at the top. But yeah, here we go. Park Gorka. Gorky Park. Okay, just got to put a pin in filming for today. I've got 2% battery and I need to save it so that I can tell my friend Lera that I'm nearby when I head to her apartment tonight. So, yeah, that's Moscow so far. Well, that's as much as I've shown you. And we'll see more tomorrow. And remember, stay dandy.